obviously McDavid is set up to have one of the best careers in the NHL ever. So we're going to play a game called McDavid versus Goliath. All right? Oh, gosh.
Monster.
Boy.
My goodness.
Reader, what happened to you then?
Hey, I don't have any gray hair. I don't care. You can
That's a little,
on my head.
That's a little frightening.
That's a great shot.
For
Right.
both of us, it wasn't really too promising for either of us. Okay, what do we got?
I'm gonna try to forget those images.
Yes,
but here's how it's gonna work. I'm gonna give you a milestone, and you're gonna tell me if you think McDavid will hit it. Okay. So we'll start with career points. Do you think McDavid will finish his career with 1,600 points? It would put him in the top 10 in terms of points all time.
I think there's only 9 guys.
Yes, currently.
And Joe Thornton is still playing, but he's about 85, 87 short of that.
Sakic's ninth at 1641.
Yeah. I'm gonna say yes, but it won't be easy because Sidney Crosby, we just mentioned, right, the same amount of time. Sidney Crosby, I believe, only has 1,240 points. Now, not to say that he's going to retire anytime soon, but still got a ways to go. But I will still side with McDavid and say that he can do it, but it won't be easy.
I think he will do it. He's 24 years old. I'm going to do some math here. Let's say he's at 500 points.
Reader loves crunching the numbers.
I know.
He's 24 years old. Let's take him to 36. That's 12 years. He's had 3 of the last 400-point seasons. So let's say we can get 80 games in regularly. He's going to have, well, he'll do well over here. If he averages 100 points a year, which is a tough thing to do, but he could do it because he could go 130 and 70. It's still 100 points a year. So for 12 years, it's 1,200 points plus 500, 1,700. That's a yes.
He's got it.
36 years old.
Did you get all that?
12 years, he's 36. If he gets 100 points a year, it's 1,200 points. 12 times 100.
I feel like I'm
plus 500 is 1,700.
I feel like I'm at the blackjack table with Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover, with all the numbers floating around him and everything.
Listen.
He'll
do it. I think, yes, I think he'll do it. He's got to stay healthy, though.
English major over here. English major here. All I needed was a yes or a no, but moving right along. All right. How about a 130-point season? Now, we know Kucherov did it with 128 points, so that's impressive. And McDavid himself has put up, I think, 116 points one season as well.
Yeah.
So, do you think he can put up 130 in a single year?
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Yes, I mean I gave you all my math, so I can't keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I think he will. I think he and Draisaitl for sure. I think a healthy McDavid. Plus, when Connor McDavid is challenged, he seems to rise to the challenge. So if we're talking about can he get 130, I think he'd be like, yeah, watch me, I'll get 140, and it wouldn't shock me if he had 140 points.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree. I think if not to downgrade Nikita Kucherov, he's a terrific player in his own right, but if he could get to 128, why wouldn't McDavid be able to get to 130 or beyond?
If the Oilers get better, that will help his
That
case,
will
right?
certainly help.
Yes.
No question.
Absolutely.
And having Draisaitl there with him on the power play as they work together, pretty hard to stop. So yes, I would agree that he could do more. He could do that 130 points.
Listen, we haven't seen it in 20 years, but if someone was going to do it, I feel like betting on Connor McDavid is probably the way to
safe
go.
Play.
Okay, next one's a little tougher, I would think. 700 goals. Ooh. This is an exclusive club.
Wow. You know what? You can see it right there. That's how exclusive it is, right? You see, Alex Ovechkin is the active player on that list, 711 goals, just jumped ahead of Mike Gartner. Even Mark Messier and Steve Yzerman didn't get to 700 goals.
Crazy.
And they played in an era when there was more goal scoring, at least at the beginning of their career. I'm going to have to say no on this one. I think he can maybe get to 600 goals, but that last 100 goals, I don't see it, so no for me.
I think he could do it. It's going to be tough. I think he could do it.
Are we going to do math again?
I have quickly put down here, it's the 40-goal seasons that he needs.
Yeah.
And to me, he's got to be consistent. I think he's going to get 60 one year. I think he's going to take off. But he's got to be consistent at 40-goal seasons. I think I've got him in there for about a dozen or so 40-goal seasons as well. And that will make it awful close, but I think he can do it, yes.
Wow, okay.
All right.
You know what? He's been challenged to score more goals. They want him to score more goals. He hasn't hit 50 yet, and I think we'll see him going for the Rocket consistently in a few years.
All right, well, this is the last question, okay? Because when careers are over, what do we talk about when we talk about GOATs? We talk about rings. We talk about championships. And most people, when you talk about the greatest of all time, they have a few of them. Do you think Connor McDavid will finish his career with 2 or more Stanley Cups?
I would have to answer that right now by saying no, just because of the situation he's in with the Edmonton Oilers. Obviously, things are going to change. It is harder to put together multiple championships in the National Hockey League in this era than it was maybe in the Gretzky era, prior to that, the Islanders. I mean, think about it. We had a run of championship teams. The Canadiens won 4 straight. The Islanders won 4 straight in the early 80s. And then the Oilers, I think, reeled off 5 of the next 7. And really, we've only had 2 back-to-back champs in the last 25 years. The Red Wings in 97, 98, and then the Penguins in 16, 17. So it's not easy to do.
We did have the 3-time Cup champ Chicago Blackhawks.
That we did.
And the 2-time LA Kings.
Yeah, and those teams were really well-built teams where they had all kinds of pieces in place. And I'm going to have to see a lot of changes from the Edmonton Oilers organization over the next several years to see that happen. Now, they have great pillars with McDavid and with Draisaitl, and they have some good young defenders coming, but they're still really thin beyond those star players, and they have nothing to speak of in goal outside of the older guys they have in there now with Smith and Koskinen. So for me, I think it will be really tough. And the other thing, in the Western Conference, you got to get past the Colorado Avalanche, and they're loaded for bear for the next 10, 12 years with the players they have. So it'll be a challenge.
I don't think he'll do it with Edmonton.
Do you think he would ever leave Edmonton?
Yes, I think he would leave Edmonton. I think if he gets to the point where at the end of this contract and he's going to be UFA, not that I'm saying he is, but I'm thinking that players look at it and say, I want to win. If he doesn't feel that the organization has got to a point where we're knocking on the door for a Stanley Cup or conference final, we're right there, I would say, yeah. But Edmonton is going in the right direction. Their pieces are getting there. They need some goaltending. That's why I don't think he'll win 2 with Edmonton. I just think other teams are so far ahead of the Oilers right now toward the Stanley Cup. They've got to catch those teams, the Colorados, for example, the Toronto Maple Leafs, for example, Tampa Bay, for example. They've got to catch up to those teams. In the West.
Vegas is looking good.
They have to catch them before they can sit on top and say, hey, we can win 2. You know, Tampa, how many years has Tampa been there? And they just got their first. You know, then they were there. They were...
They were constantly there,
and they're not guaranteed another one this year, even though I give them the favorite. So, yeah, I think for Connor McDavid, it's going to be difficult with Edmonton just because they've got such a long way to go.
Yeah, let's just hope that Connor McDavid is in the playoffs this year. That's what I hope. Connor McDavid in the postseason is good for business and good for hockey fans. All right, that was fun. Let's take another...
No.
I wasn't going to say take another look.
No, we can't unsee this.
This will haunt my dreams.
This will haunt my dreams. It's going to haunt a lot of things.